These four categories of numbers make up the real number system. The set of all real numbers is usually denoted by the symbol capital R with a double line, and every real number has a decimal representation. If the number is rational, then the corresponding decimal is repeating. Some examples include 1/3, which can be represented as 0.3 with a bar over it, which denotes repeating, or even 1/2, which can be written as 0.50, repeating, or any kind of decimal where it has an end and either the 0 repeats or a number repeats. If the number is irrational, then the corresponding decimal is non-repeating. Again, an example is the square root of 2. The square root of 2 is irrational because it can be represented as a decimal that does not repeat. Pi is also another example of a non-repeating decimal. Therefore, it is irrational. And here are some properties of real numbers. So the commutative property says that if you add or multiply numbers, the order doesn't matter. So some examples are 7 plus 3 equals 3 plus 7. Or 3 times 5 equals 5 times 3. So when we add or multiply two numbers, the order doesn't matter. The associative property says that when we add three numbers, so an example would be 2 plus 4 plus 7, it doesn't matter which ones we add first, because this would equal the same thing as 2 plus parentheses 4 plus 7. And the same rule applies for multiplication. 3 times 7 times 5 is the same as multiplying 3 times the product of 7 times 5. The distributive property says that when we multiply a number by the sum of two numbers, we get the same result as if we multiply the number by each term and then add the result. So an example of this would be 2 times 3 plus 5 is the same thing as multiplying this 2 by each term. So 2 times 3 plus 2 times 5. Or if you have 3 plus 5 times 2, again, order doesn't matter, equals 2 times 3 plus 2 times 5. Right? Using the distributive property. So in this problem, we would use the distributive property in order to evaluate this expression. So I'm going to distribute the 2. 2 times x plus 2 times 3. And if I simplify this, I get 2x plus 6. So here we use the distributive property. And here we simplified. When we're multiplying two binomials, it requires an extra step of the distributive property. So if we multiply a plus b times x, x plus y, we would distribute a plus b to both x and y. And then we would distribute the x to a plus b, and we would distribute the y to a plus b. So we would get ax plus bx plus ay plus by. And that's just ax plus bx plus ay plus by. So here we use the distributive property. We use the distributive property again in this step. And here we use the associative property.